Hey everyone, this is Suhana Bhattacharya, and welcome to another episode of the Good Firms Leaders Roundtable podcast. Every episode, we bring in a guest to talk about particular topic relating to technology, business, and more. We are so glad to welcome the guest of today's episode, Sunil Jagani, President and CTO of AllianceTek. Sunil founded AllianceTek in 2004 and since then has helped many companies streamline their operations and become more productive. He works closely with them during the entire development roadmap and supports them during and after the project. Sunil, I welcome you to our podcast. Before we get into any details, anything that you like to tell our audience about your company, Alliance Tech?
Hey, Swana, thank you so much for having me on the call. I really appreciate it. Yes, we started Alliance Tech with the core focus of bringing software engineering services to our clients. And that focus is still valid today and to the core. We really appreciate the opportunity we have to help our clients scale their operation, leverage newer technologies to flourish and work with our team.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Sunil, for that. And I'd like to mention this to Sunil and to our audience as well that this is our second season. And throughout so many episodes, we have talked about mobile application development. We have talked about super apps, then PWA, AI in app development. Then we talked about cross platform apps. And we have covered a lot more topics which are available on Spotify and Google Podcasts. So today's topic is also about mobile app development, but I think it's a bit different because we are here to talk about some of the common mistakes organizations make as a whole in app development and ways to avoid them. So, should we start, Sunil?
Yes, please. It is a topic that is important, right? Because if people are aware of the common mistakes, as you said, right, it really helps guide the process and contribute to the success of the project. So I think it's
True.
a very important topic. Thank you.
Definitely. So, I'll just start with the first question that I think the topic has given out a lot of what we are here to talk about. So, I'll just get to the point. So, according to you, what are some of the mistakes that you have encountered in several app development projects and what have you learned from them?
So to start with the product owner side, what happens is a lot of the app development projects get started without proper market research, right? People come up with an idea and they fail to differentiate between if that idea is a feature or an app, right? Sometimes it's just a small feature. They fail to understand the depth of the domain. Budget issues are also a big part where products could fail. So having a clear guidelines for the budgetary constraints and communicate that well amongst the team members, and the marketing of the product should not be an afterthought, right? It should be integral piece of the journey. To clarify, the product owner should always look to release the product, right? Get it in people's hands, make sure people are using it. So when they have to make a decision such as, hey, this new feature will be super cool, weigh it against how long it's going to delay the product. That those kind of considerations are very important.
Okay. And I think the first point that you mentioned is lack of market research. So my next question is based on just that because we did some of our research and we found out that 72% of new mobile app based products fail to
Mhm.
perform to the expectations only because of inadequate market research, what you just mentioned. So, can you please shed light on some important strategies to perform the correct form of market research before developing a mobile app?
Yes, the most important outcome of a market research is identifying a competitive advantage of your app. Every app has a competitive advantage and every app has a weakness. So, understanding that strength and weakness is very important. Building an app that exists in a symbiotic manner in an existing domain or existing set of applications or app is very important. Don't have this concept of if you build, they will come. A lot of people, I see that kind of thinking all the time. Define your persona. Think of it as what problem are you solving for which target audience? And then go do your competitive analysis and say, hey, has anyone solved this? And if no one has solved it, then you have what they say is a white space opportunity. The best way to come up with your niche in a marketplace is to start leveraging what are the existing tools out there. When you start leveraging existing tools, you'll start finding gaps and try to build top of.
I think the competitor analysis that you just mentioned is very important and also helps in discovering a lot about what you can add to your own product.
Think of your competitor as partner where you are extending or building more value in the current domain.
That's a wonderful thing that you added to it. Many apps are being developed for small and mid-sized companies. So one thing that is often recommended for them is to develop an MVP, minimum viable product, for actually testing the waters and see how good will the product actually do. So what factors should companies consider before launching a minimum viable product?
Yes, you have wonderful capabilities where you can develop core workflows of the application in or what we call a working wireframe.
More like clickable wireframes, am I right?
Yes, exactly. When you do that, so many new ideas and brainstorming sessions open up. And our clients and customers love that. See, every product and project are different. But one of the strategies you can use is we ask our clients saying that, hey, what is more important to you? Time to market or reduce the risk, right? If your confidence level is already high on this idea, we can accommodate you accordingly. However, if you want to test the waters, as you said, right, and dip your toes rather than jump in with both feet, then you should decouple the design phase from the development phase. And in the design phase, we can define the core architecture, you can define the UI, UX of it, you can make the clickable wireframes. It will give you the exact experience. You may have to allocate more time to the project, but you're that much more safer.
True, true. And many projects are late or they fail to come to the market is because of lack of maybe good coordination or a detailed planning on how things will move forward once the wireframe is ready. So, what techniques or frameworks have you developed for successfully planning, monitoring, and delivering projects at Alliance Tech?
We have put a very robust operational excellence model and a consistency framework. You should have the right people and systems in place to help you manage your entire project from end to end. Everything has to be tracked, measured, and improved upon. And client should have clear visibility via intuitive dashboards on every little detail and aspect of the project. So all the experiences we have gathered, lessons learned over the years, are baked into our application monitoring processes. So if a task is delayed compared to the defined timelines, then those anomalies will start surfacing to the developer, technical lead, head of production, and eventually to me. We have created a lot of frameworks and checks and balances that guide our projects. So our people are empowered and focused on doing the creative tasks rather than the mundane task or reactive tasks.
And I really liked what you mentioned that tracking a lot of things because what is being tracked that can be figured out and can be improved on.
100%.
So, any of these efforts, development, wireframing, all of these efforts and resources invested can go waste if the mobile app is not properly tested. So, what testing procedure do you recommend or use at Alliance Tech that has been critical to many successful projects that you've done over the years?
Right. So the first thing I think everyone should be aware of, right, is testing is at the end of the day is an art. Because if you look at the smallest application and if you try to do exhaustive testing, it is pretty much an impossible task. You can never, even a small applications will have impossible number of test cases. So trying to do exhaustive testing should not be the aim. The aim should be what testing we need to do based on our objectives. So a testing team is not a decoupled team. A testing team is not an afterthought. Testing team should be part of the project regarding the vision of the application, the user of the application, so on and so forth. That will allow them to create the right test cases, number one, right? Number two, test case development should be in parallel with the evolution of requirements. So every time a requirements evolve, change, the testing team should be part of that. Don't try to jump in too early with the automated testing. It should really be part of a regression testing. The other part is there are instances where we have designed the code, not too much, a little bit, to accommodate testing and test case scenarios. So I think that is an overlook approach. And the QA lead should be discussing with the technical lead that, hey, what can you do for me? Or this is what I need to incorporate in the design of the application from ground up so that down the road it will enable me to test it easily and better.
Thank you so much, Sunil, for adding all of these points. And I think these are very important points to consider, that testing is also a very important part of getting your product right.
Right.
So, over the years, you have obviously dealt with various sort of clients, whether small or medium size or even large companies, obviously.
Mhm.
Mobile app development is something that a business who's just starting out cannot have a lot of in-house developers and QA
Yes.
testers and designers. So in that scenario, one may often venture out to find the best development team for developing their mobile app for their business. Can you please share something, perhaps like a checklist that these companies can use to choose the right development partner for their product?
Yes, yes. That's a very important question. And what I tell my leads is very candidly is that number one thing is find a company that is ready to take responsibility for the outcomes and who are ready to deliver on your objectives and not on your tasks.
Mm.
That is, I believe, number one, right? Also try to understand the two analogies I use all the time to get my point across. So when it comes to finding the right team, the analogy for developing a custom home is that find a company where you're not dealing with the trades directly, right? So if you want to build a home, you don't want to deal with a plumber, a carpenter, an electrician yourself. You want a general contract who will manage all of those activities, and a designer. So find a company who has the mindset of, hey, we are your general contractors. We will take responsibility of the outcomes. We will guide you to make the right decisions. We will stand by the decisions we make for you. We will bring the best practices to the table, not say, oh, you told me, so I did it kind of situation. Make sure a company is very process oriented themselves. So ask them to show, hey, how do you ensure the success of a project? What are the checks and balances you have put in place to ensure success? What are the processes do you follow, right? Tracking every aspect of the project and having the tools to monitor that. And most importantly, building on top of their past experiences. That's important to make sure that people are able to work properly and having the right tools. For example, we leverage tools like Azure Boards, InVision for collaborating with the clients, SharePoint, automated workflows, all of that. That helps to optimize the workflow of the application process.
Absolutely. And I really like the reference that you gave. Choosing a development partner is like equal to building a home. You don't want to be dealing with every kind of technicality, with just someone
Right.
who will be updating you with what is going on.
Exactly, exactly. And managing that, because that is so true, right? When you start dealing with a plumber, right?
We all know
You
the
need
trouble. So moving to the last question, because we've been discussing on choosing the best mobile app development partner. So
right.
can you please highlight how your association with GoodFirms has helped you establish trust with potential clients and building long-lasting relationships with them?
Yes, I believe the responsibility of your internal marketing team is not communicating how good you are. Your responsibility should limit to sharing what's happening in your company, sort of opening the doors and windows of the company and just showcasing people what we are doing rather than telling we are good. And let a third party like Good Firms validate that perspective and give a very unbiased, objective feedback about who you are. And what I do have one quick suggestion for Good Firms, perhaps see if there's a way to match the value system between a client and a vendor.
Okay. Can you be more specific?
Yeah, so some clients, for them, speed is more important than cost, right? Or they want to pay extra for having a GC, general contractor model, versus working with the trades. So if the client that are searching for a vendor, if they can answer a few questions like, For us, speed to market is more important. For us, having an extra layer of project management is important. And we understand that comes with additional cost or additional time. Then the vendor will be able to see that upfront.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunil, for actually giving your feedback and your suggestion. The main motto to ask this question is not just gather praises for good firms, but also to get these kind of feedbacks, because companies like Alliance Tech are the ones that we are working for, and we want to make sure that the way of getting a client becomes easier. Thank you so much actually for choosing good firms to help Alliance Tech be more credible and is seen as someone who is trustworthy, hold expertise in the field of mobile app development. So thank you so much, Sunil, for this conversation. Along with our audience, I got to learn a lot with the different approaches that goes on in Alliance Tech, whether that's development, testing, and highlighting the common mistakes that take place in mobile app development. And I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Thank you.